Welcome class to this video on 4.3, three kinds of percentage problems. In this video we're going to be focusing on being able to answer, as it says, three kinds of percentage problems. We'll be trying to answer questions that have an unknown rate, or an unknown amount, or an unknown base. That might seem a little confusing to you at first because you're a little unfamiliar with the words rate, amount, and base. But we're going to clear that up hopefully quite quickly with something you're already quite familiar with. So if you take a look here, you can see we have two spelling quizzes. We have Michael and let's say Julie, all right? And Michael, he didn't do quite as good as Julie. You can see he got 4 out of 10. Now I've seen many of you do this before. Could you calculate Michael's mark if you saw that he got 4 out of 10? Well, of course you could. You would do 4 divided by 10. 4 divided by 10. And you would get 0.4. And all of you are very smart. And you would multiply that by 100. And you would know that that equals 40%. Right? How about Julie's mark? Could you calculate Julie's mark? Of course you could. You would do 10 divided by 10. You would get 1. You would then multiply 1 by 100 and you would get 100%. All right, I'm just going to show that multiplication in here as well. All right, great. Now what we need to do is, now we've seen a percentage, now we can look at the three parts and we can label them. So the term in the numerator of the fraction, that is the term in the top of the fraction, that is called the amount. The term in the bottom of the fraction is the denominator, and that is called the base. And then 0.4 or 40%, that is called our rate. And our rate can either be expressed as a decimal or as a percentage. Okay, so you should now know amount is the numerator, base is the denominator, rate is the percentage or the decimal 0.4 in this case. Now that we know the three parts of a percentage, amount, base, and rate, we can learn how to solve the three types of percentage problems. In each type of percentage problem, you're going to be asked to find either the rate, amount, or the base. The key is to be able to read the question and understand what you have been given and what you are being asked for. So if we look at question number 1, it says Michael got 4 out of 10 on his spelling test. What was his mark as a percentage? If you look, we know that 4 is going to be our amount. 4 is the numerator in a fraction out of 10. And we just did this kind of problem, right? So we know the amount, we know the base, we're trying to find the rate because it's asking for the percentage. How do we do that? What did we do? We did the amount divided by the base. So we can write here, divide the amount by the base. And how will that look? It will look the same way we just did it. 4 divided by 10 is equal to 0.4, which is equal to 40%. We do 0.4 times 100 if we're not sure how to convert that mentally. Okay, so 40% on the test. Okay, now we can look at number 2. In number 2, the question is, Michael got 40% on his spelling test, which had 10 questions. How many correct answers did he have? Okay, how many correct answers did he get on his evaluation? Let's think about the fraction and the amount, the base, and the rate. What do we know here? 40% is the rate, so we know the rate. And it said it had 10 questions. Where did the 10 go? The 10 is in the denominator, so we know the base. Now the way that we solve this kind of question is by multiplying, because really this question is just asking what is 40% of 10. So in order to do that, we have to multiply the rate as a decimal by the base. Base is 10. The rate as a decimal is 0.4. So we're going to write in here 40% is equal to 0.4. Do 0.4 times 10, and we get 4 correct answers. Okay, so that's how we find the unknown amount. We find the unknown amount by multiplying. Now we can look at how to find the unknown base. The question says, Michael answered 4 questions correctly and received 40% on his test. How many questions were on the test? Let's create the fraction again and see which parts we have. We have amount, base, and rate. So 4 questions were answered correctly and he received 40% on the test. So it's always easiest to identify the rate first. We know the rate is 40%. He got 4 questions out of how many? That's what we're trying to find out. How many questions were on the test? So that 4 questions is our amount. And we're trying to find the base. Now the way we solve this kind of problem is by division. In this case, we are going to divide the amount. We're going to divide the amount by the rate as a decimal. All right, and so how will that look? Let's do it together. We do 4 divided by 0.4, and when you do that calculation, you're going to get 10, because there were 10 questions on the test. Okay, so you have the 3 ways, the 3 kinds of problems are, and the 3 methods for solving them. If you're trying to find the unknown rate, you divide the amount by the base. If you're trying to find the unknown amount, you multiply the rate as a decimal by the base. If you're trying to find the unknown base, you divide the amount by the rate as a decimal. Okay, so those are the 3 kinds of questions you need to be able to answer. Those are the 3 methods for solving them. Let's take a look at some practice questions together. To start us off, what we're going to do is let's just identify what you're being asked for. So 11 is 89% of what? So think about that. Let's create the fraction. 11 is 89%. So what we'll do is like this each time. We'll draw the fraction equals, and we know it's 89% because we see that, we got that. Now 11 of what? Do you see that of what? That means there's a number in the denominator that's missing. So we know the amount, and what we're trying to find here is the base. Okay, so for A we can write trying to find the base. Let's do B. What is 81% of 79? 81% of 79. So in this case, we are going to write our fraction again. And we know it's 81%. And you see it says here of 79. Last time it said of what? And so we had to put a B in the denominator. This is of 79 this time. So that means it's in the base, that number 79. And what are they trying to find? We're trying to find the amount. Let's try the next one. It says here, C, what is 79% of 77? So this question, can you see how they're exactly the same structure? Yeah. And so based on that, if we do that, we could do the fraction again really quickly. 79% of 77. We're trying to find the amount. You can write here A. And D says, what is 91% of 80? Okay. So what is 91% of 80? And we can see again, this question is the exact same as the last 3. So if we do this fraction, equals 91% of 80, trying to find the amount. We can write A here. Now we have 93 is 56% of what? Okay, so we can see of what here. So that means this, whatever is here is going to be the unknown, the base, right? So we can write equals 56%, 93 of what? That's the base, trying to find the base. 57 is 39% of what? And you should recognize this, structure. It's the exact same we just saw, and so we're trying to find the base here as well. What percent is 86 of 67? Here we haven't done this kind yet. What percent is 86 of 67? See, it's asking for the percent. I could do the fraction if you want. What percent of 86 is 67? So 67 of 86, and we're trying to find the rate. So we can write here, rate. Okay, so you should be able to read these questions and identify what is being asked of you. The last few practice questions we can do together, and then there will be a series of handouts for you to complete. It says here, what is 51% of 37? 51% of 37. So I have my fraction, and it equals to 51% of 37. What is it trying to find? Trying to find the amount. The way we do that is by multiplying 0.51 times 37. I'll leave it to you to find the correct, to write the correct answer in there. 34 is 91% of what? Again, let's draw a fraction, or write our fraction. 91%. Notice it says 34 of what, which means we're trying to find the base. So 34 is 91% of what? And in order to find the base, what we have to do is 34 divided by 0.91. If you're not sure, you naturally can go back up here and see the instructions for each type of question, right? So the unknown base we just did, and in an unknown base question, we divide. How about C? What percent of 81 is 31? So in this question, it's asking you for the percent. So if I write this, I'm trying to find the rate. What percent of 81 is 31? So it's of 81. That means it's in the base. 31 out of 81. And so I'm going to divide 31 divided by 81, and I'm going to get my answer. Okay, and this answer here is going to be a percentage. All right, so that wraps up the 3 types of percentage problems you should be able to answer. Make sure you do the practice handouts and submit them as part of your assignment. Good luck.